All right, so I finally checked out Long Walk. I know you saw it theatrically, Ricardo. Lucky you. But yeah, it came out on digital. Finally got the chance to see it actually this morning, the time of us recording this. And yeah, you are right. This is one of the year's best films, right? What really surprised me about it is because of how people kind of like hyped it up after the fact. They're like, oh, this is like this really shocking, brutal horror film, right? And yes, it would be easy to compare a film like this to something like Battle Royale, right? Which we spoke
Right.
about on Six Reels Deep, right? Where, it is societal horror. It is a future or altered future that should never become reality, right? This horrific dystopian future where people are just being tortured and is for the sake of like what? Just changing society, you know what I mean? When it's just all for
Yeah. I mean,
selfish
this was
reasons.
this. Yeah. If I remember correctly, this was supposed to be commentary on the Vietnam War, right?
Which I'm
And
not
that aspect of
surprised by, given the
right.
fact which I found out after the fact, right? So like shout out to CC, thank you for this, right? So I didn't know that the original book that Stephen King put out, right, was in the late 70s, right? I love that
Yeah. Yeah. Long, yeah.
they shout out
It's before.
Stephen
Yeah.
King on this
Yeah.
film.
Before he called himself Stephen King as well. So,
Yeah, yeah,
I forget the
because
other
he
his
had
pseudonym.
yeah,
I
he had
forget
a
his pseudonym.
yeah, he had a pseudonym. I forgot what it was, right? But yeah, I love that they say based on the novel by Stephen King, right? But yeah, I did not know this until I went on Wikipedia, and I should have picked up on it from the visual aesthetic and just the music, the one or two songs that were used on this movie. Yeah, this is alternate 1970s though, America.
Right.
I didn't realize that. In my head, I went into this movie thinking, no, this is contemporary. This is just the near future, and what we're seeing here is the near future. I didn't think that. Oh, this is the 70s. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That would explain the sort of Americana look of the film and the tone of the film with the wide vistas and the fields and people being outside the house and what I mean. It has a very 70s kind of vibe now, but given the nature of the show and what it's about, yeah, it does feel very anti-Vietnam War, in terms of that aspect, though, right?
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I know, Ricardo, you saw it before, but yeah, just going off on my first viewing, yeah, I absolutely enjoyed this, right? But for me, what surprised me is that I honestly thought that this was going to be like a survival horror film, right? Where I'm supposed to be horrified by the stuff that's going on here, right? What this is actually more akin to is a survival drama. This is more like
Right.
what are those, just through an example, like, characters, let me just say characters who are trapped in a cave, right? You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
the plane crash land on a mountain and they had to do
Right.
whatever it is they have to do to survive. Is that kind of vibe now where the act of survival is not so much the horrific thing, but is the dramatic aspect of the show. So this is a survival drama, right? But yeah, that being said, though, there are some genuinely gut-wrenching moments, though. In
Right.
particular, when characters, are given three chances to get up, because yeah, it is basically, for lack of a better term, a walkathon, right? In this case, characters, right, have to literally walk until there's one person left, right? So they are literally
Right.
walking on this street road all throughout America. I love that the show never stops to say what state they're in. So for all we know, they probably reach like halfway across America, but it's a long,
Right.
long, long stretch of land. And
Well, it is. It's 3 days. It's 3 days walk. I think it was 3 days in total
well,
runtime. I forget the
here's the
exact.
thing, I think Mark Hamill's character, 'cause he plays a general, right? He says
Yeah.
3 days, but because there's
Right.
like a small group of survivors left after that 3 days, they went to 2 more days. So literally, this whole show spanned 5,
5 days.
five
Right. Right. Right.
full days, and it ends at night time.
Right.
I'm like, my God, Fred, you know what I mean? So for
Yeah.
the survivors who survived,
So how
the
long?
quotes, it's like,
I don't know.
God.
If somebody could run the, as they say, they did the math. Somebody could run the numbers on that and say how long it'll take for you to do average walking speed. How long it'll
Yeah.
take you to, how far you'll go. I don't know. It
Now,
probably
now,
does seem like a state.
now about that, right? I would not be surprised if some idiot, yes, I say idiot, on YouTube will come and say, oh, well, theoretically, oh, sorry, like technically, that isn't possible for somebody to walk that long distance. I mean, yes, sure, Forrest
Well,
Gump sort of teased at that, but no, there's no way
right.
for
Well,
somebody to walk straight for 5 full days with no rest. 'Cause keep in mind, these characters get no rest at all. Like, even at nighttime, they are walking.
Right.
There's no way logically that a character could walk from point A to point B and walk halfway throughout America without literally dying, right? So I could see people nitpicking. Oh wait, no, so 5 straight days of walking, and these individuals actually live. You know what I mean? But that's not the point. That's not the point. It's just really why they're doing it, right? And I love that earlier on is set up that, Americans are being viewed as lazy. So because we're televising this is going to give Americans more incentive to work hard so we could be that first world nation that, the world knows us as. So yeah, our characters literally walk through to prove a point. That's what it is. And yeah, they're given this 3-strike rule. So if they don't get up, they literally like kill, like headshots now. And when it gets to the headshots, though, some of them you see like on camera and it's gruesome. You know what I mean? I love that they're all done in one take. It's not like cut a shot to the head. No, they will let the scene linger on for a little bit, and then the soldier will come blacker one shot, and then you'll just cut into the next scene. Like, god damn, god damn, right? Oftentimes it'll be either off screen or it'll just be in the background, like blurred in the background, right? But yeah, most times when characters are killed, I jump. Like, I was startled, I should say, right? As the context too, like some characters, like the ankle will twist. They will complain about their legs, going through entropy, right? Some characters had a defecate and it's like they're trying to go or something, trying to pull their pants up, but it's like just the scenarios involved though is just so gut wrenching in my opinion, right? But what makes the show really, really work for me though is just the characters and the dynamics between the characters, right? Because this is not a show where, like, similar to Battle Royale, right? This is not a show that stops to give you character backstories, right? Characters are interacting with themselves while they're walking, and it makes perfect sense to it because you have to have a level head to survive something like this, right? You gotta have a level head, you really do, and that's why I think like the 2 leads, right? Let me just pull up the name. Ray and Pete.
Cooper Hoffman.
Cooper Hoffman and David Johnson, though. Those are the 2 best characters.
Hoffman's 100,
Oh, that's him. Okay, I didn't pick up on that. I should have. Yeah. They are the 2. Well, I mean, they are the leads, but they are the 2 best performers in the show, right? And I'll throw this out there before I take a break, right? I think that David Johnson, he's the guy who plays Peter.
Yeah.
That is an Oscar-worthy performance, in my opinion.
He's been a solid rising star since Riley for me because it was this.
Oh, right, he was in Riley, yes, which we loved. Yes, you're right.
He was in this. He was in that. He was in Alien.
Romulus.
We call it Romulus, right? Pretty good in that. And then, he just this man kind of cooking right now. You have a real solid track record.
Yeah, and one thing I'll say about him, right, is that what I love about his character is the optimism in quotes that he gives, because it's not fake, but it feels like it's not purely genuine either. It feels like a escape mechanism. It's like, listen,
it's a very tempered optimism.
Exactly, like he knows the situation he is fucked up, right? He knows why he signed up for it in the first place. It's not like he asking for apology. The man signed up for this thing just like everybody else, right? But the optimism that he gives, right? Just how cheerful he is, always talking to people and cracking jokes, and whenever so often he'll cuss a man out on the bullshit or whatever, right? But the optimism he gives, you could tell that's it's a mechanism to deal with everything, And then when he gets a little bit into his character, it's like, alright, I understand why you are the way you are, but slowly but surely, you see that optimism just being cracked open again and again and again. And then when it got to that final act, boy, that was rough, boy. And it was Mantia inducing, The Mantia didn't come out, It was Mantia inducing, boy. But boy, that performance that man gave up to the very end, I was like, yeah, boy, this is Oscar worthy, dread. And despite the political angle of it, because yes, it's purposely done to mirror, the Trump era the new Trump era. You could tell that's there, But I feel that this show could get an Oscar nom just off of David's performance alone,
Yeah.
I really do think so. Yeah. But yeah, performance wise, those 2 were great. The side characters were great as well. Just how they bounce off each other.
Yeah. They get a solid cast. So, like, you get which is that boy from Jojo Rabbit. It's like, oh, he's good in this. I forget the other guy. The guy who's kind of the asshole who kind of get the other fella killed.
Oh, that guy.
They were good.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
What's his name? By Cully. I think his
Just
name.
put him
No,
there.
not Cully. I think it's Thomas. I think his name is. I think his name is that.
Right.
Yeah. Right. But
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a solid cast of characters and they make it work.
Yeah, that's just a few things before we wrap up here, right? Cinematography, of course, great. The blocking though, I love Joe. That's how they're just able to keep the camera moving because it's following the characters as they're moving, right? Like the camera literally does not stop unless it's on somebody who stops, right? I love that. It's very subtle, but it works, right? Mark Hamill, very menacing. I love how sardonic he is, especially the way how he talks and acts, right? He's all like, yeah, we're doing this for the sake of our country. Like, he knows it's bullshit, but he's kind of playing into it as well. So it's kind of slightly theatrical, like slightly animated, but that's the point of it all, right? But yeah, he makes for a great villain, especially when he's related to a character in the show. It's like,
The
oh,
ending.
god damn. And especially in the ending, it's like, jeez, boy. Yeah. And yeah, that's the pacing of it, how it works. You really do buy into the fact that these characters have been walking this seemingly endless road for 5 days, though. You buy into it, right? And while it is not like shocking and he says like, oh my god, like you block your eyes, though, there are moments where it's like, my god, like I would not even have, like for me personally, I would not even survive. I would say 3 quarters of the
Yeah,
day.
that
I would have pop off
I
by the
did the
time the
one.
sun sets. Like let me just say, they start
Yeah,
off in the morning.
I
Eh?
done.
I would have pop off at evening time. Like evening time,
Yeah,
I'd
bro.
be like, nah, that's it. I done. And I can't blame certain characters for this being fuck it, I done. You run off the road, me
Yeah, that.
the soldiers pull it up, and then dog, the soldiers zero fucks given. They will shoot you, Dread, and leave you and expect you to get up, And if you
Yeah.
don't get up, they'll either leave you there to bleed out or they'll just end your life, Dread. So it is very grim, very dark, very brutal, but at the same time, it's not like unwatchable, it's not like graphic in terms of the content, but it's just the mindset behind it. That to me is what adds the horror of the film, even though it's not technically a horror film, right? But yeah, for me, this is one of the year's best films, and I want to see this. I think this show has legs. This show has longevity. But for me, I really think that David Johnson should get that Oscar
Yeah.
nom for this, though. And if he doesn't, yeah, I will be one of the first to say, hey, snub right there. He could have got nominated, man. Because yeah, performance wise, he was fan freaking tastic, right? But yeah, for me, like 4.5 out of 5. This is one of the year's best films. I wish I saw this theatrically. But yeah, I watched it in my house and I didn't mind at all, right? And also, I'll say this is one of the best Stephen King adaptations ever, in my opinion. And this is
Yeah.
coming from somebody who haven't even watched all of Stephen King's, all Stephen King film adaptations in my life as yet, right? But yeah, Long Walk was definitely worth the watch, man. So yeah, I know you saw this week's before me, but yeah, Ricardo, yeah, your quick thoughts. Well, what's still to you, and of course, written.
Yeah, and I thoroughly love this. It just the tension and the pacing and the atmosphere. They absolutely nail it in certain conceits. They make it work. Like it's just really intelligent, smart storytelling, good social commentary. None of it was like, wait, this is bullshit or anything like that. It's just like it makes sense. Characters, all the decisions make sense. The world building makes sense. I didn't have a problem with any of this as it was. And yeah, I just had a lot of fun with this. As I say, David Johnson, yeah, big star. Man, your man is a real deal in this. Yeah, he well blowing up. So I ain't mad at none of that. He really did it for me in this. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did in that in that way because he's one of those people who you know when you're doing your own thing and you had to tell a different story. It's like, all right, cool. Why make that work and how you're going to make it work? And I just dug the hell out of this. Smart, yeah, surprisingly like heartfelt for what it was because especially given the nature of male psychology, like that is a big part of it and why it work, right? And yeah, just generally well done. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, and yeah, good tension. One of the best of the year. I think this competing between this and One Battle After Another for best of the year so far. Yes, I really dig this.
All right. Well, before we get to your rating, right? Two things. One, right now, I put One Battle over this, but I guess
Yeah,
just
yeah,
because I saw it
slightly,
theatrically and because
right.
of the epic scope of it, right? But that's not to say that the Long Walk. I would say right now, this could be top five for me. This could be top
Yeah.
five, but I really want to rewatch that and One Battle because yeah, slight spoiler, One Battle more than likely will be coming out on digital by the end of November, hopefully. So yeah, so I could
Right.
watch it and then I could rank, I could rank my list properly, right? But yeah, last question. Well, quick question before we get to your rated. Thoughts on the ending, or let's just say the final shot, because
Right.
I
Yeah.
saw online some people
Kind
did
of
not like the
open conceit.
ambiguity of
Yeah.
it, but I love it.
Right.
I think that it
Right. Me too.
is perfectly clear what happened in the end. So
I thought,
that's
yeah,
given
I
the
thought it was
spot.
pretty clear too. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
ambiguous.
obvious.
It's not shown, but I thought it was obvious too. Me
Yeah,
too.
it is.
But yeah, it still
Especially
works.
with
It still
what has
works.
been set up before. But if they
Right.
had made if they made the ending clear, I don't think I would have enjoyed that show as much as I did. Like everything would
Right.
have been
Right.
good up to that one end, up to that one scene. I would be like, nah, why? Like
So
you have to give me the moment of hope, and that ending
yeah, I didn't.
to me gives me
I
the
was
hope.
so I was so yeah, no, I was so ingrained in it, and I just didn't think because I think the I didn't read the book, so I just know it was the opposite. I think in terms of the characterization and what who does what, right? Let us say that somebody sacrifices for somebody, blah blah blah, right? And that is where they changed them. So I didn't expect them the way they did it. I didn't think it would have played out like that, and it was like shocking. And again, yeah, that boy, I want to say that boy living up to his father named Jen because that he was really fucking good in that scene there.
Yeah, boy.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and yeah,
I felt Connor's performance in that
yeah,
moment,
Jared.
but jeez, but yeah.
Yeah. And it's really good stuff. But they make it work. And I like the ending. I find the ending was it what it needed to be. It was like, yeah, this makes perfect sense. I don't know how much it changed on the book. But I had to look that up. But yeah, I thought it really worked. Yeah, solid tension rating. Yeah, like a 9 out of 10. I really really dug this.
All right, so unfortunately, I did not get to see the latest work from Yorgos Lanthimos entitled Bugonia,
Right,
and the reason is obvious because, yeah, when it comes to Caribbean cinemas in Trinity, they're like, oh, these people don't want to watch no Yorgos Lanthimos movie. You just show it in South now. I was like,
right,
I want to see it. God damn it, because I've never seen a Yorgos movie in theaters, man. And we've been talking about these
right.
films for a long while, right? But yeah, I didn't get a chance to check it out. I saw some people review it. Some people
Mm,
really, really like it. Other people just
right.
couldn't get into it because it was just too weird for them. I was a little iffy about wanting to see it because because we saw like stuff like Kinds of Kindness and that just didn't make any
Right,
sense to us at all. But I still wanted to
right.
see it, and I mean, mad props for Emma Stone for saying it as well. Like I like Yorgos. Yorgos makes weird shit, but
It's
I like this guy. So
no, it's a
yeah,
short. Yeah, this will be a short review because to get into too much, it'll be a spoiler, and I don't want to spoil anything about this.
right.
But I'll say is that one, it's very reminiscent of a film that I couldn't get into outside of its service level read, and that was Killing of a Sacred Deer, right? I like Killing of a Sacred Deer, but I couldn't get into it because beyond its surface read, I didn't understand it. Right beyond the surface read of what it was trying to tell you, couldn't understand it. But this has a working parallel to that film. That's all I'll say. This is a lot more accessible and straightforward than that film, in my opinion. But this one has a similar conceit, a central conceit. So we got Jesse Plemons is dong and out. I forget the character name right now. But Jesse Plemons' character um is this dong and out fella with his cousin. The cousin is I think very heavily on the spectrum, so it's a whole like you get the feeling that you're trying to manipulate him in some way, and it going a borderline cult like in terms of like they back and forth. But you learn something about the family and what's going on with him in his life. And then he uh, takes on, well, he tackles Emma Stone, who's this big time CEO of this agribusiness company. And she kind of like this big time corporation, and they get into that whole conceit about uh, like people having to do with accountability, right? Similar, very similar to Killing of a Secret Deer. Powerful person who's an expert having a lack of accountability, and then you have to deal with that person somehow. And that's how we get into this. So I don't want to spoil anything, but basically he has come to the narrative that he thinks she's an alien, right? That's all you need to know. He thinks she's an alien, and it's more about like how he have to fix her she has to fix his problems with her alien powers apparently, or something like that, or some kind of accessibility. And then we get into that back and forth about, well, he kidnapped her with along with the cousin, and the whole back and forth is that relationship to it. But then you get into the general conceit about, well, yeah, people in power, you know, lack of accountability and something involving him. I don't want to spoil anything. A lot more accessible than I thought it was. A lot more accessible, right? It's yeah. Like, it's one of those films I understand. So like as I said, I don't really understand Killing of a Sacred Deer beyond its surface level read. And I don't get kinds of kindness at all. That was like a little too weird for my liking. But all the other films I kind of get what they're trying to go for and see, and it works out with it. The Lobster is still probably my personal favorite of his. Right, but it's overall he's a filmmaker I really like, and yeah, I just really dug this. And all I'll say is that my last point is that he all I'll say is that it really works. It have a couple beats that I kind of knew that is where they were going to go with it. That's all I'll say. Like, all right, this is where they're going to go with it, and they kind of do. And so it's a little predictable in that. And then a couple of other beats I felt was predictable. That's the only thing that's kind of pull it down. That's the only thing that's kind of pull it down. Other than that, I really like this movie. It's surprisingly, accessible for him. Right, a couple of predictable beats, pulls it along slightly, but the general conceit of it, like the final thing, is a little not a big mind blow. I just understood. I just found out the other day that this apparently is a remake of some old Korean film about 20 years ago, a little over 20 years ago. So like, okay, that makes some sense, I suppose, because it doesn't seem like a film of his, but he has his own good spin to it, so it works. The last half hour is great. That is why everything comes together. It's really messed up. It really balances the tragedy and the humor really well, and it does something that I'm a sucker for in genre fiction, which is not spoiling too much. That's all I'll say is that just because something is valid doesn't make it sound. That's all it means.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because something is valid doesn't mean it's sound. Right? If you understand the difference between validity and soundness, that's all you need to do. I dug the hell out of this. This probably, I don't know if it'll probably make the top 10. Not honorable mentions, it'll make a top 10, but probably low top 10. The way how things going so far for the year in terms of films. I dug the hell out of this. Rated like I'll say a high 8 out of 10, closer to 9. For it. It really works. It's very silly. The final thing is the final thing is like, okay, I get what they do, but how it's done and what happens is like, all right, that real dread. They play it. I don't want to spoil anything, but he plays with a lot of ideas and he kind of goes multiple levels deeper of the conceits that you expect from a story like this. But it's a little unpredictable and in that sense. That's all I'll say. Because it didn't blow my mind completely. It's like, okay, that's what they're doing. And it's really well done. It's executed really well. And it's solid idea, but really good execution. Jesse Plemons is great at this. He plays probably one of the most pathetic characters you'll see in a long time. But it's genuinely heartbreaking and tragic knowing what happens to him. And they hint at a couple other things that happen to him, but like that's part of it. It's just a really disturbed, unhinged individual, and they make it really work. All things considered, excellent acting. Him and Stone bounce off each other really well. They really make it work, and it's really solid stuff. And I enjoyed it. Very accessible, little unpredictable and slightly predictable, but it's only because I'm a weirdo type, so it's not super predictable. But like if you're a normie person, yeah, it'll be fine for you. I dug it. I really enjoyed this one. To talk about it, I had a spoil. I don't want to spoil anything. Try to view it as blind as I can. I glad I went in as blind as I didn't watch the trailer for this. I went in completely blind and I really enjoyed it. So it's that.
All right. Well, that's great, man. I wish I could see it theatrically, but I'll try to by year's end. I'll try to see if I can check it out. Right.